It's Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with your succulent tip of the day, and it's Sunday Fun Day, and you all know where we are based on this beautiful tapestry garden. We're up at our son, daughter-in-law, and granddaughters in Claremont, California, in LA County. This installation went in, it's been about a year ago, and it is doing spectacular. The Aeonium sunbursts have run amok. They are Arboretum Aeoniums, and I probably should have dealt with them earlier, much earlier in the season. I wasn't very proactive, and so now we've reached a point where we're in July, and I don't want to mess with them due to the heat. And as you know, Aeoniums are summer dormant. So we're going to, for the most part, let these ride. I do have a couple that I'm going to move as we talk about microclimates in the garden. But first things first, unacceptable. This embarrassment of riches that you see before you is crowding onto the pedestrian sidewalk. So that's what I have decided that I'm going to tackle. I'm going to begin by removing the bloom stalks from this beautiful echeveria. And I'm so thrilled that the Ruchia has done so well here in this garden. I have mixed success with this plant, and I'm super happy it's done so well here, but obviously too well. This is a ground cover, and, you know, I don't want my son to have to keep trimming it back off of the sidewalk. So the idea is to move it to another location where it can grow without having to be hacked at all the time. All right, let's see here. There we go. That has really taken off. Then I'm also going to take these beautiful little echeveria and move them to another location too, for the same reason, because they are really starting to crowd the sidewalk. So those came out nice. Then we can just take and clean this up. My goodness, this is so rewarding. And rob a little from Peter to pay Paul over here. And how much better does that look? And now I've got these gorgeous healthy plants to move into another area. All right, so I identified a place here where I could add these echeveria. Makes sense, right? We've got the space, and we've got some here that are also doing well. And this Aeonium, I'm not sure exactly what the variety is. It's not a kiwi, nor is it a Haworthii, but look at the sunburn. It is not loving it. So I'm going to take this out of this spot. We'll find somewhere else to put these where they're going to get more protection from the sun. And, you know, this is the thing, the microclimates, you've got to learn them. And this garden went in a year ago, and I got pretty lucky. You know, most everything, well, actually everything is thriving. I think this was the first thing that kind of went sideways on me. So now I know that I need to find a location for that plant that isn't going to get hit with such hot, direct sun. So that's okay. Nobody bats 1,000. And remember, these plants are really easy to manipulate and move around. So don't panic. Just move it to a better area where its needs are going to get met. So now I can open this spot up. I think that this is a really good area to pop in this Ruchia. It'll then be able to spill out, you know, down over this rock. This plant This is such a great ground cover, you guys. If you're in an area where it's happy. Like I said, it can be a little persnickety, and I haven't been able to sustain it everywhere I've planted it, but it seems to really like it up here in Claremont. So I'm going to pop this in here. Grab some of that soil that I threw in the can. Right, and then I will also take the hose and just water this in a little bit just to help it get settled. But yes, I think that is going to be a much, much better spot for that. Then I'll just push my rock out of the way here so that I can pop in my echeveria. This is a good time too, you know, to check your soil, make sure that all is well, that it's not real dry or real wet. You know, you can check your drip irrigation at this point, identify your lines, make some tweaks if needed. You know, as you start moving things around in the garden, that's absolutely the time to just do some maintenance. This is a Dudleya Bretonii too, in case you were wondering. It is actually a native of San Diego, Sunset Cliffs. I adore this plant. It's another one that's summer dormant, so I don't know why this guy didn't get the memo. It still looks really, really good. But this is a winner of a plant. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's so pretty. Yeah, that's the money shot right there. Okay, let's put the soil back. And I can tuck this rock back up underneath. Again, take a little extra and add it up behind the plant a little bit. Right there. Oh my gosh. Yes. So happy with those two modifications. Now, one more thing that I'd like to do in this garden is deal with these aeoniums. Now, you'll notice this is in pretty deep shade. The way the eave is positioned and the way the sun is moving, this is going to get some morning sun, but it's going to be protected in the hottest part of the day. So I think it's absolutely safe to mess around with the aeoniums in this part of the garden. So I'm going to start, oh boy, I'm going to start with this one. See, there's nothing, wrong with it. It just looks a hot mess. So let's cut these down and reset them. There will be no more satisfying thing that you will do with your day than what I am doing right now. Trust me. Trust. Oh, and it's so interesting. Look at how it reverted to green. That part. Fascinating. So many heads. Goodness sakes. Okay, so now I'm just going to take and completely remove this. And yes, you could probably work with this trunk and with these branches. You could plant it and it might do something for you. If you're into that, you just go right ahead. I'm, however, not going to mess with that. So I'm pushing off as much of the soil as I can because I didn't bring any additional soil with me up here. All right. And now we'll set this aside, and I'm also going to take this bad boy here and do the same thing. It has absolutely run amok. I'm going to take off some of those bottom leaves. This is all sunburn right there. So moving it back into the deeper shade, I think it's going is going to make this plant real happy. And you know, the really fun thing about this too is in the winter when they wake up from dormancy, they will have rerooted by then, and I can do whatever I want. I can move them again if I want to. I'm just trying to decide if I want to take this whole thing apart, and you know, I do, clearly do. Just not a big fan of this stemmy, trunky look. Now, if you are, then by all means, let them ride. This is subjective. It's whatever floats your boat. Wow, am I getting a bunch of new plants or what? Okay. Look at this sea of sunburst at my feet. Wow. And these are Echeveria elegans, or Mexican snowball, and they got crushed by the sunburst and are looking a little on the sad side. Those are going to need a little love too, a little rehabilitation, but I'll deal with that a little later. Right now, I want to take out this ugly, trunk. And why am I not doing this to all of them? Because it is summer, it is going to get hotter, and I don't want to mess with the ones that are in the sun. Just these shady ones. I feel like I can safely work with them as cuttings without any ill effects. See, and then this would be a really good spot to reset these poor Echeveria elegans. So I'll do that later. Right now, I'm going to take all of these fantastic cuttings that I have here. Woohoo! And I am going to stick them in the ground. So because I'm working with cuttings, I just want to push the soil around, keep it nice and loose. I'll start with my bigger ones and just pop them in. I can almost hear them thanking me. Honestly, it is at least 8 degrees cooler where I'm sitting right now versus where I was. Oh my gosh, these plants are going to be so much happier here in the shade, especially in the summer. And like I said, you know, this doesn't have to be permanent. We are not planting an oak tree here. This is absolutely temporary if you want it to be. Okay, so I feel like I've got enough back there. And I still have probably 10 or 11 Aeonium sunbursts to plant. So I think what I'll do is I will just go ahead and put some back here, all nice and trimmed up. I'm going to pull out these elegans and I will cut and reset these too, because that's just tragic. It's not going to work. See, this is a little micro line, a little drip line right here. So this is really well irrigated. This irrigation goes off once a week for just a few minutes at a time, and that is sufficient to support this garden. You know, while I'm popping these into the ground, I'm just going to have Greg take a minute to kind of show you a little closer up of the garden. I want you to note how tropical looking it is and how it doesn't look dry in the least. Claremont is now on water restrictions. They're only allowed to water once a week. So when we pulled into town, it's just bad. I mean, all the lawns are dying. You can also show them, Greg, what John's lawn looks like. They just said, forget it. They're not going to waste water 1 day a week because you cannot sustain a traditional lawn on 1 day a week. So they're letting their lawn go. And I bet you that I'm going to have myself a new project pretty soon. I can put succulents in that lawn area. All right, this is so rewarding. So yeah, if you've got some shade, by all means, mess around with your sunburst or any other aeonium. If you have them and they're leggy and they're not looking great, you can absolutely work with them as cuttings if you're working in the shade. Or if you're coastal and you've got morning sun and afternoon shade, that would also be fine. Okay, and then for me, the fun for me is in the cleanup. I just love doing that. So you can see that despite the fact that I have reset these aeoniums in 2 places, I still have aeoniums. Succulents, the gift that keeps on giving. So I'll find homes for them. No, don't you worry about it. And I think everyone would agree that these elegons need help. Nobody is gonna, whoa! Nobody is gonna be liking the look of that. Okay. Just pop these right in here in front of the aeoniums. Like a little rock right here. Pull that out. And then I can just tuck in. If you can see it there. Tuck these in. Gonna be so much happier. Yes, you are. Okay, now, I'm looking over here between these milii, and we've got a gap, so why not pop a few more of these sunbursts in over there, right? Yeah, and this is right on a drip line too, so I know they're going to be okay. And no, they're not going to rot, because like I said, this is really well draining soil. It doesn't stay wet, and these plants are going to be just fine because they're also not going to go fully dormant because they are in the shade, which will trick them into staying in at least just part dormancy. Because for the aeonium sunburst, it's all about temperature, the temperature of the air, the quality of the sun, the brightness. It's about the temperature of the soil. All these things indicate to the plant when it's time to go night-night. It's just a form of self-preservation. Yeah, Greg says be careful where I'm standing. We've got the basin for the fountain right here. Okay. So I still have a few aeoniums left. You get the gist. I'm going to clean up my mess and putter around out here a little longer because it is Sunday fun day. Lucy, our granddaughter, is napping. John and Marianne have gone out to get a bite to eat. And Greg and I are just going to continue to enjoy puttering around in this beautiful little garden, and I sure hope that you all will do the same. This has been Laura Eubanks reporting from Claremont, California on Sunday Fun Day with your aeonium succulent tip of the day. Bye, guys.